Hello everyone and welcome back. In this little mini-series, I'm going back to listen and react to some of my old recordings. If you missed the last installment, you can click that link up there to check out the Blender years. Next video, we'll be looking at the professional years, but today we are looking at what I have dubbed the transition years. I see this period of time as my transition into becoming a competent musician. There are some moments of hope, but not without their growing pains. Let's start where we left off. I had just returned home from 6 months abroad in Australia. I decided that I was going to do music full time, and I spent the next year preparing for an audition at Humber College in Toronto. My old band Shaky Gun broke up around this time. We were all going in different musical directions. We had one gig booked and decided to back out of it. We didn't know anyone who could take the slot, so I quickly put together a band with some buddies that I would jam with. Re-enter Iceman, who was the drummer for my first band. Tommy Toon from Shaky Gun was on bass, and my friend Kit also played guitar. We didn't really have any songs. We were a free-form jazz funk band that just made it up as we went. This music was especially fun for us to play, but it wasn't overly interesting for an audience. We played the show and some random girl came up to me after. I think her review sums it up. She said, "You guys are obviously good, but that was boring." Our group was called Cosmic Funkhorse, a band name I still hold quite dear to me. One rehearsal, I set up my 16-track recorder and recorded a jam. What you've been hearing is from that recording. Let's turn it up a bit. I mean, I can kind of hear the pieces starting to come together, but it's still pretty rough around the edges. Quick reminder, if you want to hear full recordings of any of these songs, they are available at my second channel, and the links are in the description too. So I spent this year back home in Winnipeg teaching guitar, honing my craft, and working on a number of musical projects that didn't go anywhere, as well as preparing for my audition at Humber. One of these musical escapades was a foray into electronic music. I'd acquired a copy of Reason 3.0, which is software you can use to create and arrange beats. It was especially fun to create a full song all by myself from my bedroom. The song you've been hearing is called OB. Why it's called that, I don't know, but let's take a closer listen. I hear elements of potential in this recording, still unpolished, but I can tell my musical senses were developing. The last thing I'll show you from my little venture into electronic music is a song I had dubbed Tiger. You should be hearing it now. I remember I was trying to capture some John Frusciante-esque vibes with this one. You might recognize this as something I revisited not so long ago, which I renamed Home on Grove Street. I thought I'd lost the song forever, but I stumbled across a work tape when I was doing some cleaning, listened to it, and thought that maybe it was worth further exploration. But moving on to another thing I did during this time. Something that may live on in infamy now that I'm sharing it with the public. It also may prevent me from ever running for public office. One fateful day, for whatever reason, Iceman, Tom, and I decided to write the most vile piece of music we could come up with. That piece of music you're hearing now is called Pig Scrotum, which of course also became the band name. We never played a gig. I can't imagine why not. This song will always have a special place in my heart.
Pig scrotum, pig scrotum, I've got a big pig scrotum. Pig scrotum, pig scrotum, I've got a big pig scrotum. Scrotum flies and it smells like bacon. What? Hey baby, what? Shake and touch my big scrotum. I've got a big scrotum.
I think that might be my magnum opus. I also just remembered that I showed this song to a girl that I went on a couple of dates with, who for some strange reason decided to break it off. I'm beginning to connect the dots. If anyone wants to hear the full recording or do an animation for this video, you can hear it over at my second channel. We also recorded a 100% family-friendly song about the classic board game Balderdash. Aside from singing about pig ball sacks, I was also preparing for my audition at this time. Humber requires a pretty decent understanding of the jazz genre, so that's where I was focusing my practice. The song you're hearing is called Ornithology. I'm gonna listen a little more closely. feel like it's a pretty accurate representation of where I was at the time. I've been playing guitar for about 10 years, jazz for maybe one of them. While this didn't get me into the program of my choice, it did get me into a program at the same school called Intro to Jazz Studies, which was designed as a preparatory year for the degree. We'll talk about that experience more next video. After sending off my audition tape, I was a bit burnt out on jazz and decided to focus my efforts back on songwriting. This was an important period for me. I wrote a lot of music in this book right here, maybe 50 songs or so. The one we're about to hear is called Old Stream. I think it was inspired by Jack Johnson.
I don't know where this old stream goes. I don't know. I don't know where this old
I haven't listened to this for a decade or so. I am truly shocked that I thought I was singing in tune. Yikes. Having said that, this is one of the better songs I wrote then. At least it's one of the few I recorded. Looking back, let me tell you, there is some pretty bad stuff in here. However, I can find some songs that do have a bit of potential. I was working hard at it, trying my best, and there is one song that stands out among the rest. This will be the last thing we listen to today, and it will segue nicely into the professional years. It's a song called Baby-O. Let's check it out.
I'm so lonely when I'm not with you, and baby, I'm so frustrated that we are not one but two, and I'm so lonely, yeah, I'm so lonely without you, oh baby, oh baby, baby, oh.
Singing still pretty rough. I don't think I understood the concept of breath support. But I wrote this, shared it with my friends, and they loved it. I remember being down at my buddy B's train's cabin with a big squad, and we would sing this over and over again. To this day, whenever we're together and a guitar comes out, this song is the go-to sing-along. This was important for me. This song felt different. For the first time, I truly believed in a song and thought that maybe I could do this for real. Years later, during the last year of my music degree, I did a professional recording of this song. We'll be checking that out next time. That's all for today. In the third and final installment of this series, we're going to be looking at the professional years. I start my degree out in Toronto and begin making music that even today I can look back on and say, hey, that's pretty good. There's a wide range of projects that I'll get involved with, and we'll also look at some stuff that leads into my YouTube page. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always thought that this stuff that I'm sharing would never be heard by anyone else. I'm sure these won't be my most popular videos, but it's cool to me either way that some of you guys enjoy this. You lot are the best. I'm Samurai Guitarist, and I will see you again soon.